Welcome back to Health and Wellness, a spiritual journey to becoming, where we learn the spiritual applications to health and wellness. Well, as I was reading different parenting books this year, I came across David Tripp's book, Parenting, 14 Gospel Principles That Can Radically Change Your Family. And I've been a Christian since about 11 years old, and entering into parenthood took me for a loop, and I soon became tunnel visioned. But this book has reminded me of what's really important. And if you know anything about the struggles of parenting, it is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job, 365 days a year. And, it changes your dynamics in marriage as well. So with all those struggles, I was soon losing sight of the importance of things. Now this book reminded me of looking at life through a different perspective, a perspective in light of the gospel. So this session is going to be 8 weeks long, with today being the introduction, and the other 7 weeks is going to be reviewing 2 chapters. Two of them. Yep. But they're not going to be in order.
Not in order.
Like next week, it's going to be chapter 1, chapter 6.
6.
Okay, so if you guys can read those ahead of time,
Okay.
that would be great.
Right.
Now let's begin.
Okay.
Alright, so if you can get a white sheet of paper, and on that paper I need you to draw, hold on, I need you to draw what your current relationship looks like, and leave a brief description of what you mean by that picture. So this is my picture here. You can see it. It's a little irritated, angry face with tears and still keeping in mind to pray. So this was my picture because on many a days, especially in my parenting relationship and sometimes in my marriage, I get so full of emotion. I just have to go to my room, lock the door, get into a dark closet, and just start crying. And I get on my knees and I pray and I said, God, what do you want to teach me today? And how can I love my daughter? How can I be patient?
No tears.
Yeah, no tears today.
Mama, no tears.
No tears. So I asked God,
Lord,
how can I
tears.
love? You don't have tears? Oh, good.
No.
So I asked God, how can I love and respect my husband? How can I get along with my family members? Things of that sort. So that is a depiction of, for me. Now, God has a bigger picture for what our relationships are supposed to look like. Let me give you an example. Take a puzzle. 1,000-piece puzzle, and each puzzle goes to the appropriate spot. The artist has made the bigger picture, so our job is to look at the bigger picture and put each piece according to where it goes, right? Now, have any of you guys ever tried to grab that little piece of puzzle, cut it, and paint it, and just push it in somewhere where you want it to fit? Well, I've never encountered someone that really has done that. Maybe they've been tempted to do that. Been attempted to do that. But the sad reality is that we tend to do that in our relationships. We manipulate, we control in order to make people fit into our agenda. Agenda. Yeah.
Exactly.
So let me give you an example of that. If you guys can write your own examples, I would love to read those. But one realistic example is, this is my 3-year-old daughter, Emma. Say hello, Emma.
Hello.
And when she was 1.5 years old, I wanted her to be potty trained. And so in 3 days, I read this book called 3 Days Potty Train. And so I'm like, okay, we can do this. I won't have to buy any more diapers. I won't have to clean out poopy diapers. It's all going to go in the toilet, and it's all going to be good. And so 4th day rolls around, and we were on a roll. And that day, she didn't want to sit on the potty. And she peed all over the floor. And I was like, all these emotions came up. I was so irritated, angry, and I ran to my room, and I had an adult tantrum. Like an adult tantrum. I started crying, and I went on my knees, and I asked God, please forgive me for getting angry and irritated and putting these unrealistic expectations on my 1.5-year-old daughter. And help me love her, be patient with her, and just see the bigger picture, not get so angry about the little things that don't matter. So if you guys can give me yours examples, I would love to read those. Now, to get straight to the point, God has called us to be His ambassadors and to place the little tiny pieces into His bigger picture. What is that bigger picture? One word, Jesus. just think Jesus when you think bigger picture. So we are going to be in the book of Ephesians 6, verses 10 through 20. If you could just pause this video and read those verses and then come back to it. And I will just keep moving along. If you could summarize this passage into one sentence, what would it be? For me, it is Paul's encouragement to walk as ambassadors of Christ because of God's amazing grace through him, through Jesus. And so, mind you, Paul's in prison here. He's writing to the church at Ephesus about the mystery of the gospel and how that should affect our everyday living. Now, part of that mystery was the unity of all humanity, races, languages, through the work of Jesus on the cross and his resurrection. Right, Jesus? So, reading these verses, what can you infer about the duties and implications of being an ambassador? If you could write those down, I'd love to read them. I have a list of my own. An ambassador is a messenger or representative of one higher than them, the master. They speak boldly and with confidence, and they're not controlled by fear, but they leave those consequences to their master. They are faithful servants, and they're equipped with the whole armor, in this case, the armor of God. And they have a godly perspective on life, relationships, struggles, suffering, just life in general. They have a whole new pair of glasses to look through. Now, your homework, in addition to reading chapters 1 through 6 for next week, is going to be draw a depiction of the armor of God. See? This is mine. See, it's kind of cool, huh?
Let me see. Let me see your face.
You like that one? So as a depiction of the whole armor of God, I need you to label each piece and pick out a verse that best resonates with each piece of the armor. Now, find a friend. Find your children, your spouse, your family members, anyone, and have a coloring day. Color the armor of God and talk about it. It'll really open up conversations for you guys.
Okay.
Alright, so right now we're going to go over owner mentality versus ambassador mentality. So in class, we're actually going to categorize it right now. Right here, it's already going to be in its own category. I'm just going to give you the answers to it, okay? So, an ambassador says, God, you're in charge. I'm just your representative. Say, God, you're in charge.
God in charge.
You're in charge.
Charge.
So, you make decisions based on God's will, not your own. Not based on your opinion, but based on God's truth. You recognize that life is a spiritual warfare. How can we go through life without putting on the armor of God? How can we properly relate with our children, with our spouse, with everyone around us without putting on the whole armor of God? That's nuts, because it's a spiritual warfare. We don't take things personal because we know that our battle isn't with other people. It's in the spiritual realms. We're focused on God. We're not focused on self. With our society today that is so selfish, and I see it in myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, like all these different things that I do, and I struggle because I am selfish. I want everything to be about me and not think about other people, right? But God has placed other people in our lives for us to care for us to put them up higher than ourselves. But most importantly, be focused on God and His vision for them, not our own vision that we've set out for them. And we're relying on God's wisdom and His leading and not on our own self-determination. I was the kind of person who I had to go, this is what I was going to do. These are the steps I'm going to take to get there because this is my will be done. God threw me for a loop. He clouded it. The clouds?
Mm-hmm.
He put a big giant cloud in my path, and I'm like, I don't know what step to take next. And I was so scared, but I went on my knees, humbled, because I'm like, God, I don't know anymore. Please show me. And so whether it be for yourself, for your kids, for your spouse, for your family members or friends, ask God for His leading.
Mm-hmm. So that was great.
And then constantly and consistently be that faithful vessel for God. not measuring success by little check marks
Check
and
mark.
thinking that you're good because these things are being done. But it's more faith that what you're doing, in the end, even though you don't see the results right now, God's going to work it out all for good if you're just consistently faithful. So, ambassador is also careful to safeguard God's reputation and not their own. So, God first. They're not concerned about, oh, they're making me look bad, or, but really, how are they representing God? How am I representing God? And lastly, an ambassador gives credit to God. We don't say, oh, my kids are here because of what I've done, or my spouse is here because of what I've done. They don't take the credit. They say, to God be the glory, because He is the only one who can do life transformation. Alrighty, so I have 2 reflection questions to end our time together. You don't have to answer them down below. It's just for your own reflection. Do you feel like a success or failure in your relationship? Why? Can you say why? Why? Provide God's truth and Bible verses to support your answer. So if it's not supported by Scripture, align your thinking with Scripture. All right, well, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a blessed week. Bye.